I never planned to stay up late that Friday night, but something about the stream kept me glued to my screen. It was the perfect way to unwind after a long week, a couple of drinks and my favorite Twitch streamer, Ethan. He specialized in horror games, with eerie atmospheres and sudden jump scares that left me laughing and screaming simultaneously. But that night was different. That night, the line between entertainment and reality blurred. Ethan was playing an obscure indie horror game called Whispers in the Dark. It had a small cult following, praised for its unsettling narrative and strange visual style. I'd heard rumors about it, how it felt unnervingly real, how some players claimed it stayed with them long after they turned it off. I dismissed it as exaggerated hype. But as I watched Ethan boot it up, I felt a strange pull, as though the game itself was drawing me in. The graphics were grainy, like an old VHS tape. The protagonist, a nameless figure, was alone in a decaying house, armed with nothing but a flickering flashlight. Ethan started his usual banter, poking fun at the uncanny shadows and the whimpering noises echoing through the corridors. At first, I laughed along. But then, an unsettling familiarity crept over me. The house, its layout, the creaky floorboards, even the whispered voices in the background, felt oddly personal, as though I'd been there before. Ethan's jokes began to falter. His laughter turned to nervous chuckles, and his usual confidence wavered. "This game," he muttered, trailing off as his character turned a corner. A strange sound reverberated through my speakers, a whisper, low and unintelligible. It didn't seem like part of the game. I glanced around my room, suddenly hyper-aware of the dim light and the shadows pooling in the corners. "Did you guys hear that?" Ethan's voice cracked, breaking character for the first time. The chat exploded with theories. Some viewers insisted it was part of the game's ambience, while others speculated about technical glitches. Ethan shrugged it off, but I could see the tension in his posture, the way his eyes darted off screen as though he'd caught movement in his peripheral vision. As the game progressed, its atmosphere grew darker. The shadows moved in ways they shouldn't, twisting unnaturally. Subtle changes appeared in the environment, a flicker of light, a door that was ajar where none had been before. At one point, the protagonist found a mirror. The reflection stared back, hollow and distorted, as if it didn't belong to the character. Ethan froze, his face pale. "This is different," he murmured. The tension escalated when the character opened an old cupboard. Suddenly, the lights in Ethan's room flickered. He jumped back, swearing under his breath. My own heart raced, but my lights stayed steady. "Did you see that?" he asked, his voice rising. His moderator, Kat, quickly typed, "It's probably just the power. Don't worry." But then I saw it, in the corner of his webcam feed. A figure. Thin, almost skeletal, draped in ragged clothing, standing motionless in the shadows behind him. "Guys," Ethan whispered, his voice trembling. I think someone's in my room." The chat exploded with panic, urging him to turn around. I couldn't tear my eyes away. My instincts screamed at me to close the stream, but I couldn't. It was like watching a train wreck in slow motion. The figure moved, stepping closer to Ethan. Its gaunt face twisted into a grotesque smile, illuminated by the glow of his monitor. Ethan's breath hitched. "What the?" The screen cut to black, leaving only static. The stream was gone. I sat there, frozen. My mind raced with possibilities, a prank, a technical glitch, a nightmare. But deep down, I knew. That figure wasn't part of the game. It wasn't a trick. It was real. I scoured his social media for updates. Nothing. His last tweet was from that morning, announcing the stream. Fans flooded his posts with concern, but no one had answers. The whispers from the game lingered in my mind, haunting me as I tried to sleep. When I finally drifted off, I dreamed of that house, of corridors that stretched endlessly into darkness. Days passed, then weeks. Ethan's account went silent. His streams vanished, as though he'd never existed. I stopped watching Twitch, too unnerved to return. But the unease didn't leave me. At night, I heard whispers, soft, indistinct voices just out of reach. Sometimes, I thought I saw shadows moving where they shouldn't. One sleepless night, I reopened my laptop, desperate for distraction. A new channel appeared in my recommendations, Whispers After Dark. My stomach dropped. Against my better judgment, I clicked. The stream loaded. Static filled the screen, then cleared to reveal Ethan's face. Or what was left of it. His hollow eyes stared back at me, his expression vacant. Shadows pooled around him, alive and writhing. The chat was frantic, viewers begging for answers. But none of them seemed to see what I saw. The shadows shifted, and the figure emerged, stepping into the light. Its twisted smile widened as it leaned toward the camera. "Join us," it whispered, its voice low and guttural. My screen flickered, and for a moment, I felt its gaze pierce through me, as though it knew I was there, watching. I slammed the laptop shut, heart racing. But the whispers didn't stop. They grew louder, closer, invading my thoughts. Every night, I felt the pull of that channel, the dark promise it held. Then, one day, a notification appeared, a new stream scheduled on Ethan's old account. I joined, knowing I shouldn't. The screen filled with darkness. The figure stood alone, its grin wider than ever. "There's room for you in the dark," it whispered. I felt a cold hand grip my shoulder, though no one was there. The pull was unbearable, the darkness calling to me. And now, as I sit here, typing this, I know my time is running out. The whispers are growing louder. The shadows are closing in. Whatever you do, don't look for Ethan. Don't let the whispers find you. Because once they do, there's no escape. Just one more whisper, and I'll be gone.